Hello, everybody. Oh, that door. Whoops. Let's close that. There we go. Take two. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Blanche Case Fitness. It's Wednesday, and you know what that means. It's time for Jump Around, our weekly cardio class. Yeah, not up to full energy yet, obviously. Again, thank you to everybody who joined me yesterday while I ranted for almost an hour, surprisingly, about everything. It's been a hard week. It's been a very, very hard week for those of us in my geographic community. Yeah. What can I say? This is a shitty week. This is a shitty week. I was talking to a friend of mine today, and we were both sort of realizing that this is the first time that mass shooting has hit so close to home for us. And it sucks. And everyone who I know is tired and sad and just trying to figure out how to keep on going. And yeah, me too. Yesterday helped. And again, I really, really appreciate everybody who hopped on the stream, hung out, talked in chat, or just let me sort of get my feelings out. Which is like, it's an interesting sensation to be like, well, there's something that feels a little self-serving about being like, well, I have this captive audience, but you're not a captive audience. You can click off the stream at any time. And it means a lot to me that people did come and hang out and were willing to listen to all that anger and sadness and pain. Yeah, it meant a lot to me. And I know I didn't tweet out a class later. It's just, yeah, I was passed out by 8, maybe. It's just too tiring, everything. And it's not been a particularly productive day. I'm not feeling like super jazzed about exercise right now, but I do also know that it will help. I do know that it will make me feel a little better. I went for a walk today, and that helped too. Just threw on my headphones and threw on a podcast and wandered. I didn't even wander in directions that I actually knew where I was going, and just sort of aimlessly wandered about a bit, which was nice. And hello. And that helped, and this will help. And you know what? It may not be the most amazing class that any of us have ever had, and that's okay. That's okay. Hey, we talk about that a lot. We talk about acknowledging where we are and coming to class from that place and not trying to like shove things down or leave things at the door, And where I'm coming to class today is that I'm tired and sad and worried about everyone in my community. I'm worried about every single person who works at a King Soopers today. I know at least one guy, because I worked at a coffee shop for a while, and he used to come in and get coffee. And he's scared. There are people who are like planning to retire because they don't think that they'll ever feel safe there again. And yeah, it's just, I'm worried about my community, and with good reason. And so that's sort of where I'm coming to class from today. that can feel a little demoralizing sometimes. You know, when we come into class and we know that we're not coming in at full energy, either physical or mental, that can be really hard, and that can be frustrating and feel a little demoralizing, feel like, you know, what's the point? But the point is moving, because even that little bit can help. And again, it's not a silver bullet, but it can help, you know? It can help to move, to remind ourselves that we are not stuck, that we have the ability to move and to change things, even if it's just changing our overall health by continuing our exercise schedule, even in a week when it's really hard and really shitty stuff has happened. So, you know, these are the days, it's easy to come to class when you're feeling really jazzed and pumped about it. But I think the days that you should feel particularly proud of yourself are the days when you know how important it is to come, because you showed up despite everything else, despite feeling tired, despite feeling sad, despite being worried for every person who works in a grocery store in your community, every person who needs to go on a quick shopping trip. You're still showing up and doing this thing that's really important for you and for your health and for your continued ability to take care of your community. And that's huge. And we should all be proud of showing up today, I think. Yeah, we should all be proud of that. Oh God, I'm tired, my friends. I don't know that this will be the most voluble stream that I've ever run. Either that, or I'm just going to chatter about nonsense all day for the next hour. You know, that might be the way that I deal with it. Just getting us through class and talking about silly things and taking our minds off it. You know, if I do that, you know that I'm not denigrating or devaluing what happened. But sometimes we do need to put a little distance just to get that initial burst of healing so that we can come back to whatever we're struggling with that added strength, that added power, that added stamina. So we'll see. Oh golly. All right. It's cardio day. Oh man. Yeah, this is either going to be a class where we just get through it and we're like, okay, thank God we managed to keep moving that whole time, or it's going to be a class where we go, oh, I have a lot of anxiety and anger to get out, and this is going to be the vehicle, and I don't know which, but you know, those are both totally legit uses for class. So let's get started, my friends, because you know, sometimes you can feel yourself procrastinating. Sometimes you can feel that you're really scared to start doing the thing. And I can feel that right now, but thankfully I have all of you to remind me that I need to do this thing. Okay, so let's do our pre-class checklist. We've got our water in whatever vessel you were using. I hope you've been hydrating. I definitely ended class, you know, if nothing else was the same about yesterday's stream, I did end class by reminding you to hydrate and to eat something. So, you know, some things don't change. So you've got your water nearby. Make sure that you are drinking it consistently through class. Very important. You've got your comfy clothes, whatever that means to you. You've got your mat or mat size space on the floor. And if you use a fitness wearable, now's the time to turn them on. Nope, that's a summary of my walk. There we go. High intensity interval training. Pardon me. And if you don't use a fitness wearable, that's totally fine. Don't worry about it. It's just something that I use, so I like to remind people because it can be easy to forget to turn them on or off. As I think anybody who has one of these watch buddies can attest to. Let's just take a second before we get up and get on the mat. Let's just take a couple of deep breaths and ground ourselves. We're here. We are allowing ourselves to feel whatever we're feeling, and we are going to take that energy and we're going to see how we can integrate it into class. And you know, maybe that will turn out to be, I'm going to push myself a little bit harder and challenge myself a little bit harder today because I want to, you know, have something to push against this or to get this energy out. Or maybe we will use it to remind ourselves that sometimes the bare minimum is exactly what we need to focus on. So let's just take, you know what, let's take 3 deep breaths here, all right? Just ground and center and get ready. Here we go. There we go. All right, let's get going. We've already started our watches, so it seems to be time. Oh, golly, there we go. Creaking my way over to the mat. And we begin, as always, with me making sure that my phone is connected to the speaker, which it is. All right, so everybody start on your mats, on your backs, 1 foot crossed over the opposite knee, and as soon as you hear that horn go off, we will begin with hip rocks and bridges. There we are. Reminding ourselves that our warm-up is for just that, for warming up. So, you know, on any day, not just on today, not just this week, but on any day, we do not start out the warm-up by ramping immediately to 100% energy output. We are booting up systems and letting our brains and our bodies know that it is time for exercise. So do not be here feeling like you need to be doing maximum height, maximum speed, nothing like that. Right now, we are just starting to use our muscles just enough to let our brain go, oh, it's exercise time, so I need to make sure I'm sending the correct signals. All right, switch feet, same thing on the other side. And letting our muscles know, oh, it's exercise time. I guess I need to turn on the energy production systems, start breaking down some of those fuel stores so that they are in a form that I can use for energy. So, yeah, you can tell that I am not doing, you know, rocking my hips up as high as they can go, bridging as high as I can go. I am, you know, trying to use all of the muscle groups that I would expect to use here. So my core is contracting to lift those hips up in the air. Obviously my glutes and my quads to get into that bridge position. So it's not that I'm not engaging the muscle groups, but I am not trying to go for, I've got to get all the way up there. All right, let's go into our leg sequence, starting with our Jane Fonda. So lying right on our side, trying to keep our body in a nice straight line, okay? So if you have trouble getting your body set up into a straight line, then use assistance, like say the long straight edge of the mat that you are on. And just line yourself up against the edge of that. And once you're in that position, that's when we start to pay attention to how that feels and start training our brain to be like, okay, this is what it feels like to be in this position. So if I'm somewhere else, if I'm in another class and somebody asks me to lie on my side in a straight line, I can get into that position without needing assistance because I know what it feels like. All right, top foot flat on the floor in front of that bottom knee, lifting that bottom leg, keeping this knee pointing straight up towards the ceiling, pulled back so that if I were to squat on this leg, the knee would go straight over the foot. Depending on your hip flexibility, this may be harder or easier. So for me, on this side, it's super easy. This is my more flexible hip, so I can just sort of place the leg and chill there. On the other side, I have to do a lot more muscle engagement, and I'll sort of show you how that goes when we get there. So this exercise is twofold, making sure that we're keeping this knee in this nice safe position, and then the more obvious lifting and lowering of that bottom leg, okay? All right, and now taking that top foot, putting it flat on the floor behind the bottom knee, and still lifting that bottom leg. So we're in our beach pose now. This is the easiest position in this leg exercise sequence because we've got nice stability here. It's not as much of a balance as it is when we're lying straight up on our side. We don't need to worry about rolling accidentally forwards or back. We also don't need to worry as much about hip flexibility. This is a much easier position to keep that knee pointing straight up in the ceiling. So we can really just focus in entirely on lifting that leg. And again, just trying to identify and internalize what it feels like when different muscle groups are being used, and to learn a little bit more about what muscle groups are used for each exercise. All right, now we come over here to side two. We do the same thing again. Here we go. Oh yeah. Oh, it's gonna be a sleepy week. And that's okay. But yeah, here we are. Engaging the core is going to help you keep in this balanced position, because it's going to help keep the hips in line so that they're not tempted to rock forward or rock backward. When you lift the leg, make sure you're engaging the glutes as you do it, which will help pull it into line, but don't actively pull the leg backwards, all right? We don't want the leg to be going forwards when we lift it, but if you're pulling the leg backwards, then you're overcorrecting, okay? So just engaging those glutes should be enough of an adjustment. All right, top foot flat on the floor, lifting that bottom leg. So on this side, because my hip over here is not as flexible, I do need to engage more of the musculature in the back of my hip to pull. So without this assistance, my knee just wants to cave forward a little bit, so I have to pull it backwards and open so that it stays pointing up towards the ceiling. And again, if I were to squat on this leg, the knee would go straight over the foot. So, you know, if you don't have that perfect form here, it's not the end of the world, because we're not putting any standing pressure on the leg, so it's not really going to hurt the knee. But that also makes this a perfect place to practice that form, so that when we do stand up, start doing squats, for example, we can maintain it more easily. All right, behind the bottom knee, still lifting that bottom leg. Here we are, last leg exercise. Again, beach pose, the easiest one to maintain, so we can really check in on what muscles do we use when we are lifting the leg like this, you know. We obviously are using the muscles in the inner thigh. That's sort of a given, and that's the easiest muscle group to notice. But if you pay more attention, you can feel a little bit of engagement from the bottom of the obliques on this side, helping to increase that lift. You can feel some engagement on the opposite side of the thigh. So it's always fun to just pay attention to all the different muscles that go into seemingly simple movements. And it doesn't get much simpler than just lifting your leg up like that and putting it down. All right, now for scorpion twists, moving into our opening up the back and hips portion of the warm-up. Oh, wow, yeah, I can definitely use this today. Make sure your elbows are staying firmly planted on the ground, okay? So if you try to twist over this far, and you're like, I can totally get there, all I have to do is let my elbow come up, then you cannot twist that far. You don't have that flexibility yet, and that's totally fine. Just be honest with yourself, all right? So this provides us a nice gauge for where our flexibility is, and a nice measuring stick to notice when our flexibility improves over the course of this class. Well, not this class specifically, but taking this class on an ongoing basis. Oh, all right, now we are up and we are holding our imaginary PVC pipe above our heads, and we are doing nice big torso rotations here. Changing directions every couple of rotations because we're only doing one interval of this, so we want to make sure that we're evening out and making sure that we are initiating the circle using the hips, okay? So a common mistake I see is for people to move the arms and then try to follow along behind. The arms need to stay in the same position relative to the head the whole time, okay? And then you're bending over at the hips, and that's how you're generating that circle. All right, still holding that PVC pipe, and now we are going to do some squats. So our first opportunity to really start integrating that form work that we were thinking about in the leg sequence into a relevant exercise. So we want to make sure that our knees are not caving in towards one another at any point. So if you are trying to do these squats and you cannot get through a rep without your knees trying to cave in at some point, then narrow your stance, all right? Narrow your stance and go, okay, I can maintain it here, and now I can just practice there until I feel strong enough that I can go back to the wider position and see how that feels, all right? Now going into our Sampson stretches. So this exercise is focused on opening up the front of the hip flexor. We're taking that nice big lunge position, straight leg behind us, okay? Not a bent leg, reaching the arms straight up towards the ceiling. I'm not trying to bend my back. There's a natural curve just because of the exercise itself, but I'm not trying to accentuate that. And making sure that our hips are pointing straight forward the whole time. So not opening into warrior two. We want to keep those hips straight forward. It's as if you have headlights on your pelvic bones and they should be shining forward no matter what. All right. Now into this nice wide squat position. Hands on the knees to help them stay safely positioned. And then we're just doing a nice twist of the shoulders and the upper spine. So the scorpion twists got at the lower to mid spine, and now as we twist one shoulder in towards the midline and then the other, we're getting that twist in the upper spine. Nothing else should be moving, okay? The only things moving are your shoulders. So we're keeping this squat position nice and stable, not bouncing up and down out of it, and just making sure that everything else is still except the shoulders. All right. Now for the cardio section of the warm-up, and just because we've hit cardio does not mean that we immediately ramp up to 100% energy output. Obviously, there's going to be more energy output by nature of the exercise, but we're still booting up, okay? So we are now working on booting up our cardiovascular system. So getting our heart rate going a little faster, getting our breathing going a little faster. So don't feel like you need to be doing max versions of any of this, okay? We're still doing bare minimum versions. So you can see I'm not jumping my feet super wide apart. I'm not straightening my arms. Just trying to keep moving the whole time is the main thing. And then coming into our kick throughs. So making sure that the shoulder is directly over the wrist, making sure that the standing leg, we're not dropping the butt down to the floor or letting the knee cave forward, okay? So you want knee pointing up towards the ceiling, 90-degree angle. And then just switching from side to side. And remember that there are a lot of moving parts to the exercise, so if you need to take it slowly, that's totally fine. Take it slowly, learn how to integrate all of the sections together, and that'll be okay, all right? Okay, last but not least are our burpees. Making sure that we are doing a wave push-up, okay? Still keeping those elbows in by the sides, which is a pretty common form ask for me, but we are not doing plank push-ups, no matter how badly you want to, okay? And then nice big victory clap up at the top, and this is going to be the last exercise in the warm-up, so it can be the most energetic one to send us out with a bit of style and get us pumped for the rest of class. All right. There we are. Ooh, I need to water you, don't I? Sorry, buddy, I'll water you today. Sorry, there's a plant right behind the camera. I'm not just talking to a random person. All right. Oh, man. Yeah, I think today I'm gonna focus on doing whatever feels enjoyable to do, you know? So there are days where we want to challenge ourselves with either new exercises or with exercises that that we feel, you know, we want to improve on, that we're worried about. And there are days when we really want to stick to exercises that we know, that we understand, and that we can, you know, feel confident that we're going to do well on. And I think that today is one of those days. So Obviously, I can only do this from my own perspective, so some of these exercises for you may be in that former category, and if so, I apologize. But remember that the bare minimum is a totally legitimate class goal if you need it, particularly on a week like this, all right? Okay. So we're just gonna do Tabatas today. 20-second on, 10-second off, 2 exercises. So we'll just go back and forth between things. And I think that's gonna feel really nice. So our first exercise is going to be a turtle jump, not a turtle stand, but a turtle jump. So rocking up on the shoulders, up on the feet and jump, and back down and repeat. All right, you know most of my notes about that. And then second exercise is going to be London bridges. So we take that front plank position and we bring one hip all the way down almost to the floor, and then up, and then other hip, and then up, okay? So you need to make sure your abdominals are engaged so that you are able to pull your hips back up, and we are not touching our hips to the floor, okay? So that's the other place where the abdominal engagement comes in. We are not laying our hips on the floor at all right? They're coming real close, but not all the way down. All right. Ooh, sorry. You know why I'm tired. All right. First sound does not mean go. Gotta love it. First sound means stop, rest, rejuvenate. There we go. Adjust the clothing, and then we go. So remember, if you are using the modified version of getting up in this exercise, remember that I do want you to work towards being able to rock directly up onto your feet rather than needing to use the hand or roll over your knees, just because it'll help you to maintain the momentum, which is a really important part of that exercise. And then here in our London bridges, we are keeping our shoulders directly over our elbows, okay? And make sure you're coming back to that front plank position each time, and then going for the other hip, dropping down towards the floor. All right? Woo! So, second time through. Second verse, same as the first. Remember that core engagement is really important for our turtles as well, because it helps to maintain the round of your lower back so that you can rock up onto your shoulders and then back up onto your feet, you know? So make sure that your core is engaged during that exercise and is really working to maintain that rounded shape so that you can get as much momentum as possible. All right, we are halfway through, which is lovely. And doing that nice jump. You don't have to do a victory clap at all, which is just excellent. All you're doing is rocking up onto the feet and doing a nice big jump. So it's similar in a way to frog jump because you're coming from all the way down on the floor, but because you have that roll in the center, you're not just jumping over and over again. It's a little easier for you to safely maintain, okay? All right. Woo! Woo! All right. Last set, my friends. Last time through. There we go. And again, remembering that our bare minimum is 3 things: starting on time, stopping on time, and doing the exercise correctly. So if you can focus on those 3 things, then you are going to get a great workout, even if you don't feel comfortable going for anything else. That is totally fine, okay? So just focus in on those 3 things and you will be doing great. All right. Woo. There we go. Let's get some water. Woo. Okay. Yeah. Definitely feeling a little more worn than I would necessarily expect to feel at this point in class. And that's good to recognize. That reminds me that I am focusing on what I need, and maybe what I need today is just to keep moving the whole time, and that's going to be okay. All right. Next set. Next set, we are going to do aerobics knees. So taking our feet between hip and shoulder width apart and squatting down, not that far, maybe a 45-degree angle, and then up onto one foot, bringing opposite elbow to that knee, and then down, other side, and just going back and forth like that, all right? And then second exercise is just going to be jumping jacks. So if you have shoulder issues, you may not want to straighten your arms all the way. I generally maintain a bend in my elbows because it reduces the range of motion that my shoulders have to go through. But if you don't have shoulder issues, then yeah, feel free to do the traditional straight arms, and we're gonna, do wider jumps, speed it up a little bit. So no longer the super bare minimum version of the warm-up, all right? All right, so aerobics knees and jumping jacks. Here we go. First sound does not mean go. There we are. We're getting prepped on the mat. Knock, knock, knock tells us to be absolutely ready to start moving the second that we hear that horn, all right? So that the knock, knock, knock sound is probably the most important sound in the Tabata, because it tells us that we need to be ready so that when we hear the next sound, we are able to just immediately start moving the second we start to hear that fanfare, all right? So you don't want to be waiting until the end of the fanfare to start moving, because that's several seconds in. And when you're only going for 20 seconds, you want to get all of the time possible out of that time, right? So you want to be ready to go that first second and to be moving the whole time, all right? And it doesn't have to be the biggest and most powerful sets you've ever done. But as long as you keep moving the whole time, then you are improving. You are increasing your stamina, and as your stamina increases, as your strength increases, then we can start ramping up the power and ramping up the speed, okay? So these are the things for us to keep in mind. Oh, I do enjoy Tabatas like this where we're going back and forth between two exercises because it makes it feel a lot faster because there's more variety in what we're doing. So our brain doesn't have time to hunker down on one of these exercises and go, oh my God, I feel like I want to die on this exercise, because every 20 seconds you're changing what you're doing. So I definitely find that it always makes it feel like things are going faster, and that can be really nice. Not all the time. Sometimes you want to be able to hunker down and to really focus in on what you're working on, so that you can really get a sense of how's my form, how do I feel in terms of my stamina for this exercise, in terms of my power for this exercise. Sometimes you really want that, but not all the time. Sometimes you need that boost of variation to keep you more motivated to get through the sets, and starting to better identify what inspires you and what drives you in terms of activities is really useful. Oh, all right. So, there are some activities that are really just the same thing over and over again. And if that is not an approach to movement that inspires you and engages your brain and your body, then you may never really enjoy running. And that's okay. There are so many other activities out there to do, like a class like this, like dance, like hiking, like a ton of different team sports. So, all right. Feeling good, feeling good. Definitely starting to feel a little more energy, and that's exciting. I'm still not gonna, push to max output because I'm ramping up more slowly, so I can tell that I don't have as much floating energy to be able to burn through today, but that's all right. I can feel it ramping up, and that's exciting. That is really cool. All right, next set. What are we gonna do? Oh, yeah. We are gonna do two of my favorites. Again, we're sticking with a lot of my old favorites today, my friends. All right, we're gonna do flying chickens, flapping our elbows majestically, landing our feet back in the exact same position that they started in. And we are going to do shrimps. We're gonna do shrimps. So, actually no, for this one we're gonna do boat rocks. So take that pike position, but contract your abdominals so it rounds your lower back, and keep them contracted. Keep that round so that you can rock back and then rock back up to that balance. Because if you don't, and your back starts to straighten, then we end up in the dead bug pose, okay? All right, here we go. Here we go. So flying chickens and boat rocks. And while you're doing boat rocks, if shrimps are still new to you, I want you to visualize how you would go into shrimps from the boat rock. And if you don't need to worry about that, then just focus on your boat rock, because let me tell you, it took me a long time to actually start doing that exercise correctly, i.e. utilizing my abdominal muscles to maintain that curve. Yeah, so for years, I was like, well, I mean, my core is clearly super strong, and that's why I'm not feeling anything out of this exercise. And as soon as I finally figured out that I wasn't actually utilizing my core and keeping it engaged the whole time and started to do that, then I went, oh, never mind. My core was not super badass. I just was doing the exercise incorrectly. So never be afraid to ask yourself, am I doing this right? I don't care how long you've been taking class with me, because let me tell you, there is always new stuff to learn, and there are always going to be things that you think you're doing correctly that you discover down the line you're not actually doing correctly. And that's part of the fun, you know, is learning how to notice that more. Learning how to go, oh, hang on. Now that I have a better overall understanding of my muscles and how they move and how all that movement ties together, I can actually notice that I am not tying these movements together in the way that I'm supposed to be for this exercise. And that's a really cool place to get to as well. And it's a place where you should be very proud to get to, because it means that you are truly learning more about your body and about your muscles and how to actively control them and use them for different types of movement, okay? And that's the goal, you know? Like, the goal here in class, like, the ultimate goal isn't, I want you to learn how to do the absolute perfect flying chicken. That's not really my top line goal. My goal is to help you to learn how to converse with your body and to notice how it moves, what it needs, and what you might need to do to train it, to keep it safe, and to work on, you know, strengthening and increasing your power. So it's not really about any specific exercise as much as it is about going, oh, you know, I've been doing this exercise for a good long while, and I am just now noticing that I'm not actually engaging my abdominals while I do it. That's a cool thing, and it's going to make you better at this specific exercise, yes, but it's also going to make you better at any type of movement, because you will have a better understanding of what muscles are supposed to engage when you do what types of movement. All right? Oh my goodness. Yeah, feeling good, feeling good. This is exactly the type of class that I wanted to have today. All right, what's our next step, my friends? We're gonna do some high knee runs, because what's a cardio class without some high knee runs? All right, so just back and forth from foot to foot, trying to get those knees up above the crease in the hips, or as high as you can get them if you're not quite there yet, okay? So high knee runs, and then, let's just do some push-ups. You know, there's a reason that they're a classic, and I never used to like push-ups, but as I've gotten stronger, I definitely have come to understand the utility of push-ups. So you can do any version. You can do plank push-ups like that. You can do from the knees. You can do a wave, half plank, half wave. You can do incline push-ups off the wall or a piece of furniture. The main things, as always, are keeping your shoulders directly over your wrists and keeping your elbows glued to your sides as you come down into the push-up position, not letting them fan open, okay? So high knee runs and push-ups. Oh, there we go. Yeah, that's the other thing is sometimes we have to get more experience to be able to identify the things that we are doing wrong. And, you know, obviously having classes in person is useful because you have an outside observer who is hopefully a professional, who is able to keep an eye on you and to say, oh, you know, this is the thing that you need to work on for this particular exercise. And that's super useful. But you are not always going to be exercising in the same room as that professional. And it is really important for all of us to have the ability to notice where we are going wrong without outside help, no matter whether your primary mode of fitness is being in that room with that professional. You know, there are plenty of people who prefer to do fitness classes, and that is how they like to get their exercise, and that's awesome. Having taught a class like that, you, the teacher, do not have the ability to notice everything in every student all the time. And so it is still important, even if you are always taking class with a teacher, it is still important for you to start learning how to notice when things aren't quite right, okay? Because you want to be able to make those adjustments without me there. Even if you're in the room with a teacher, you still want to behave as if you are the only one there and the only one paying attention to your form, okay? So that's one of the most skills I think that anyone can learn is noticing when I'm messing up and not getting down on myself, because it's going to happen to all of us, always, you know? It happens to me, which means that it happens to everybody. So remembering that our goal is not perfection. Perfect is the enemy of good, but what we do want is to notice as quickly as we can when something is going wrong, and to be able to make that adjustment as soon as possible. And that is going to be one of the most useful things that I can teach you. All right. Woo. Oh yeah, there we are. We are probably gonna have time for 2 more Tabatas. All right, all right. How's everybody doing? Drinking plenty of water, hopefully. Deep breaths. Feeling grounded, present, sweaty as all hell, which means that your cooling systems are working. And hopefully feeling a little more grounded in your own strength, which is really, exercise is an amazing physical manifestation of our overall strength as people, and it can be really useful to look at it that way, to be like, oh, well, if I can do this, then I can do anything, right? All right. Oh. Whew. Just needing to yawn. Just needing to yawn. I know you understand, my friends. All right. Whoops. Keep accidentally turning my timer off. All right. Next 2 exercises. Let's, we haven't done side-to-side mat jumps in a while, so starting on one side of your mat, standing on the same leg as the side of the mat you're on, so I'm on the left side of my mat, I'm standing on my left leg with all of my weight on that leg, right leg crossed behind me, but I'm not putting pressure on it. And I want to use the power of my front leg to generate the jump to the other side. I can let a hand come down only for balance, not for putting weight on, and then back and forth and back and forth, okay? And then now let's do shrimps, alrighty? So we did our boat rock, now we take it to the next level, moving shoulders then hips, all the way down to the end of our mat, and then back the other direction. Alrighty? Falling. Alright, so side to side mat jumps and then shrimps. Let's get going. Yeah. Ooh, 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 ooh. Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna be yawning a lot, and that's okay. There we go. So this is an exercise that requires spatial awareness. So we want to make sure in these giant leaps from side to side that we are not in danger of running into a wall or running into a piece of furniture, okay? So make sure that you are paying attention to the space that you're in and that you are modifying your movement so that you are not putting yourself in danger, okay? And it's a lot easier for me in this room because this room is basically empty of furniture, at least on this side of it. But I do still have the walls and the door, and I can jump pretty far. So I need to be aware of where I'm gonna land when I cross that one leg behind me. I need to be aware of where it's gonna land and just make sure that I'm not gonna do anything or hit anything that I'm not expecting to, because that's how we injure ourselves, folks. And we are always trying to minimize the likelihood of injury, right? That is one of our most important goals. So you see me keeping a hand out to touch the wall, just to make sure that I don't lose my balance into it, and that's fine. And also to make sure that I don't jump so far that I end up running into the wall. And these are all very, very important things to pay attention to, all right? So where you are, you may be in your living room or in your bedroom, so you may have big pieces of furniture, you may have expensive electronics, your laptop may be on the floor next to your mat so that you can watch the stream. So it's really important for you to pay attention to where all of that is and to make sure that you are not going to hurt yourself or break anything that you don't want broken, okay? So it is obviously a lot more convenient to have a space with more space, like a room like this, but it is so important for us to always remember that we can get an awesome workout with a small amount of space available for it, you know? Having that flexibility and having that creativity is super important. It helps us to not get stalled out in our exercise and fitness journey because we don't have our perfect setup. Again, perfect is the enemy of good. If you're gonna be somewhere where you don't have your regular setup, have something that you can take with you. And that's the thing I love about teaching this class. I can take it anywhere and you can take it anywhere, you know? If I go on a trip to another time zone, I can still teach this class. And if you are on a trip somewhere, you're in a hotel room, you could still take this class. And that's super cool. All right. We are going to finish up one final Tabata, my friends. And first exercise is going to be burpees. So you know the deal with those. I don't need to explain them except to say that this time we are going for as much intensity as we can bring to that exercise, all right? And then second exercise is going to be bicycles. because damn it, this is a comfort class for me. And while we've done a number of things today that we haven't done in a while, bicycles are one I keep coming back to and I love. So contract those abdominals to lift the chest and shoulders off the ground. One knee into the chest, the other leg extended but off the floor. Opposite elbow to knee, switch sides, and keep going back and forth. All right, this is our final Tabata, my friends. So this is all we've got left. And then we'll do a little stretching, which will probably be a little bit more meditative and grounding than usual. All right, getting ready for our first set of burpees. Here we are, still doing that wave push-up, okay? And still doing that nice big victory clap up at the top, okay? So those are the two non-negotiables. And then flipping around, getting ready, getting set, and going. Remember, don't put your hands behind your head. That gives us a tendency to try and pull our heads forward rather than using our abdominal muscles to lift the chest and shoulders. And that's not what we're aiming for. All right. Round two. There we go. You know, here at the end of class, it can feel very different doing burpees than doing them in our warm-up. We are more fatigued because we've been working harder. I'm gonna take my glasses off. Screw it. So, yeah, we are at the opposite end of a 1 hour class, and we've been working hard, and that means that a lot of our energy has been used, and our muscles are all going, holy crap. This has been quite an experience. So I want you to dig in and find those last pockets of energy that you have lying around in your body somewhere. And I want you to activate them, because you know what? We've got nothing left to save them for. This is the end of class. This is the final Tabata. So as you're getting your cheerleaders out and putting them on the floor next to your mat, next to your laptop, your TV, whatever you're watching the stream on, I want you to also dig deep and say, okay, I have worked my ass off. I have gotten a lot of energy. I have proven my strength and my stamina to myself. It has been a hard fucking week. And you know what? That's okay, because if I can get on this mat and make it all the way through this class, then I am absolutely capable of doing anything I set my mind to. And we're going to take that energy and we are going to put that out in the rest of the world. But first, we're going to pat ourselves on the back. Oh my goodness. Good job, everybody. Good Good job. Okay. Let's lie back on our backs and bring our knees into our chest. All right, and I want you to wrap your arms around your knees so that you can have your hand on the opposite elbow. All right, and your knees are nice and pulled in. If you're not there yet, if you don't have the hip flexibility, of course, modify as needed. Let's rock back and forth a little bit, just to give a little bit of a massage and opening up to the lower back. Nice deep breaths. We're bringing our heart rates back under control. We're bringing our breathing back under control. And now let's let one leg extend flat along the floor. Other knee is still into the chest, and we're going to bring it across the body so we have this nice twist in our spine. Arms extended away from one another. Shoulders still flat on the floor, both of them. It's harder to keep the shoulder that is opposite the knee on the ground. So what we're going to do is we're going to look away from the knee, back towards that other hand. It's going to help us keep that shoulder nice and flat on the ground. And we're going to take 4 deep breaths here and really just sink into this twist. Here we go. That's 1. That's 2. That's 3. And 4. Look back up at the ceiling. Bring that knee back into your chest, other knee to meet it. Arms wrapped around them. Let's rock back and forth again. There we go. And then extend the other leg. Bring this knee across the body into that twist, keeping both shoulders flat on the floor, looking away from the knee to help facilitate that. And we've got that nice twist. And we are going to take 4 deep breaths here. Here we go. That's 1. That's 2. That's 3. And 4. Look back up at the ceiling. Bring that knee into your chest. Both knees meet there, rocking back and forth a little bit. And then just extend both legs along the floor, arms up above your head. And what I want you to do is I want you to stretch your arms and legs away from each other as hard as you can. Just stretch out as if you're trying to tear yourself apart. And then let everything relax and drop. And then stretching again, just trying to stretch as far as you can, as if you have ropes around your ankles and wrists and they're pulling you apart, and relax. All right, and roll over onto your side, push yourself up to seated. Nice big sigh. Let's take the soles of our feet together. Let our knees fall open, and we're gonna fold over our feet, but we want to get our lower back as close to our thighs as possible to really intensify the stretch in the hips. So try to take a flat back position first and walk slowly, hand over hand, forward as far as you can. And then when you don't feel like you can go any farther forward, then you can let yourself sort of, well, you can let your upper back round over, okay? And that's just gonna help you intensify the stretch. So flat back, walking our hands forward one at a time, getting as close as we can. When you don't feel like you can go any farther, let your head come down. Just shake it really briefly to make sure you're not clenching the neck. And here we are, feeling that nice stretch in the hips. And let's take those 4 deep breaths here. Here we go. That's 1. That's 2. That's 3. And 4. And walk back up to a seated position. And now we're going to do a quick hamstring stretch. I'm going to let one knee, I'm going to bring the foot to the other knee, and I'm going to let this knee just sort of fall open, similar to how we just had it. The other leg is extended straight in front of me, all right? And so this is a way for us to stretch the hamstring that requires a little less overall hip flexibility than having both legs extended forward, okay? So one leg is bent, knee open, foot up against the other knee. The other leg is straight, and we're just gonna reach for that foot, and we're gonna let ourselves bend over the leg as far as we can get. Shake that quad muscle to make sure that you're not clenching it, okay? And we're gonna take 4 deep breaths here. Here we go. That's 1. That's 2. That's 3. And 4. You can come back up. You may have seen me let go of the foot and bring my hands back here. One thing that can help if you feel like your knee is always trying to bend while you're in this stretch, having something like a foam roller or some sort of like a pole, but not something that's going to be hard and painful, just something that you can lay over top, just above the knee, so on your thigh, just above the knee, and just apply a little bit of pressure to it to help keep the leg straightened and to help deepen the stretch in the hamstring, okay? So if that's something that you struggle with on one or both sides, try and find something that you can use to help keep that leg extended, okay? Now for the other side. Nice. 420 active calories. Nice. All right, other side. Reaching out, folding over as far as we can. Try to shake out those quads. If you need a little bit of assistance keeping that leg straight and you don't have like a foam roller or anything, you can do what I'm doing. Just bring your hands up above your knee and get that little added pressure. And let's take those 4 deep breaths here. Here we go. That's 1. That's 2. That's 3. get some water. Water! Yeah. All right. Well, you know what? That was a good class. That was really helpful. It helped me to feel a little bit of strength and power, get some of that anxious energy out. Always helps me to be on stream with y'all, so yeah. Still tired, but you know, now it's coming from awesome fitness class, so yeah. And I hope that class was good for you as well. You know, it has been a weird and hard week, and you know, I recognize that it likely feels more intense for those of us who are in the Boulder area, but you know, it's never a good week when there's mass shooting anywhere in the country. So I am always glad to be able to offer this space for us to gather together and to take care of ourselves. And I always appreciate y'all coming along on that ride with me. Oh man, and I'm really looking forward to post-workout shower. That's always one of my favorite parts of class. We have 2 more classes this week. Friday at 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time is Functional Home Fitness, where we do weight training using objects you can find around the house. And then Saturday morning at 9 a.m. is the weekend kickoff, which is our awesome strength and stamina focused bodyweight class. So do join for either or both of those classes. You can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. All those handles will be in my end cards, but they are all variations on Blanche Fitness. My YouTube channel is where I upload all the VODs from these streams, so you never have to miss a class, even if you can't make the live cast. So definitely head over there and subscribe. I'm not really plugging my like financial support things this week. I would rather people take what they can and donate to a mutual aid organization helping the families of the Boulder victims, families of the Atlanta victims from the shooting before that. You know, donations to the ACLU, NAACP, any organizations working on gun control and gun control legislation in the United States. So yeah, if we can get some support going for those organizations, I think that is a valuable use of people's money this week. But please do follow the channel. And if you do have extra cash, you can subscribe to the channel as well. And if you want to help keep growing this community, then please do tell your friends, your loved ones, coworkers, anyone looking for an awesome class. I stream 4 days a week. We have a great community here, taking care of each other, supporting each other, cheering each other on as we go on this fitness journey. And I have a lot of great plans for the channel in 2021, and I can't wait to show them to you. So, all right. Tell your loved ones that you love them. Finish your water, refill it, finish that one too. Make sure to get some food. Make sure to have a good shower. And I will see you all back here again on Friday. Mwah. Have a great night.